Okay, so the very first condition, as I mentioned in the morning session, is your dextrocardia. Okay, so in this condition, stop talking. In this condition, all the chambers of the heart and associated blood vessels are reversed as a mirror image. That is, all the structures that are normally present on the right side will be present on left and vice versa. Okay, so dextrocardia is a condition where you can see the chambers and the associated blood vessels. That means both your arteries and veins are present as a mirror image. Okay, so basically your right atrium, right ventricle will be present on the left side, and the left atrium, left ventricle and the related blood vessels are present on the right side. Okay, it occurs if heart tube bends to the left instead of the right. The heart is displaced to the right side, and this condition is called transposition of the heart. If you remember the looping of heart, which I mentioned in the development of the heart tube, I clearly mentioned your heart tube will bend towards the right side and the atrium parts will go to the posterior aspect, right? So if that does not happen, instead of bending towards the right side, if the heart tube bend towards the left side, we can see this condition called dextrocardia. Okay, as a result, your heart will also be present on the opposite side. Instead of left side, we can see the presence of your heart on the right side. That particular condition is called transposition of the heart. Okay, this dextrocardia is related to one more condition called situs inversus. So situs inversus is basically a condition where the visceral organs are present as the mirror image side of the body. For example, in addition to your heart, your liver, spleen and any other organs may be located on the opposite side or on the wrong side of the body. Okay, so dextrocardia is related to situs inversus. This PPT I have already shared for your CR. No need to take pictures. The dextrocardia is the most common positional anomaly of the heart. So if the question is what is the positional anomaly or positional clinical correlation of the heart, you need to mention about dextrocardia, transposition of the heart related to situs inversus. These are the three important words you should mention. Okay. You can see the diagram. This is the mirror image of your heart. And this is how exactly the person suffering from dextrocardia will appear. Okay, any doubts? Okay. The next condition is called Ectopia Cordis. Okay, it is a rare condition in which the heart lies exposed on the surface of the thorax. It occurs due to the non-union of two sternal plates of the developing sternum. Death occurs in most of the cases during first week or after few days of the birth. So what do you mean by non-union of two sternal plates? How many types of foldings we have studied? Foldings of the embryo? 3 types. What are those? How many types of foldings we have studied? 3. What are those? The first one is cranio-caudal folding. Okay. And the second one is lateral folding. These are the 2 types of foldings we have studied. The cranio-caudal folding is more like your head and tail folding. In the lateral folding, if you remember, I have mentioned the structure will be present like this. Okay, once, am I audible? No? Okay. So once the folding start taking place, your embryo will start folding in the downward direction. As a result, the lateral folding will appear in a circle form. This is the right lateral folding. If this does not occur, if the folding stops here only, if they does not come and meet in the midline position, it will lead to a non-union of two sternal plates. Okay, basically midline of the body will not be formed. As a result, your heart will directly exposed into the thorax region. Okay, am I audible? Sorry. Okay. So what happens is, and this foldings occurs between 4th to 6th week. Mention that point. If the lateral folding does not occur properly between 4th to 6th week, it results in the non-union of two sternal plates. As a result, we can see the heart exposed in the surface area of the thorax region. Okay. So this is how the ectopic cordis will appear. And in this condition, if you observe the heart carefully, the chambers are also not developed properly. Okay. Okay. So in this condition, the chambers of your heart is also not properly developed. Any doubts? The next condition is defectives that we see in the formation of the septums. The very first condition is defect of spiral septum, where we can, I think there is no chance. Okay, where we can see the spiral septum, where we have discussed about the spiral septum. How many different septums we have discussed at least? Okay, what are the parts of your heart tube? How many parts are there? 4. What are those? Okay. The last one is sinus venosus. Then, which one? Upper one is bulbous cordis. Okay. Next, primitive atrium or ventricle? Ventricle. Okay. Then primitive atrium. So if you remember, I have mentioned in the bulbous cordis, we can see 3 parts like this. Right? What are those? This is proximal 1/3. Then we have conus. Then next, what are the other structures? Proximal 1/3, conus, and next. What is this upper part is called? Truncus. This is called truncus arteriosis. So in the truncus arteriosis region, we can see a formation of septum like this. This is your spiral septum. Okay, so the spiral septum divides the entire truncus arteriosis into arch of aorta and pulmonary trunk. These are the points we discussed in the development region. Okay, in the truncus arteriosis, we can see a spiral septum that divides the entire structure into a pulmonary trunk area and arch of aorta. Okay. Defect in the development of the spiral septum results in the communication between the ascending aorta and pulmonary trunk. This particular condition is called Patent Truncus Arteriosis. In this anomaly, the spiral septum fails to develop. As a result, the pulmonary arteries and aorta arise from a common vessel. Okay, this is the condition. So basically, we can see the backflow of the blood in the aorta region to your pulmonary trunk. As a result, we can see the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood get mixed with each other. The common passage now between your arch of aorta and pulmonary trunk. Okay. The first picture shows the normal flow of the blood in the arch of aorta and pulmonary trunk. In the second picture, you can see the aorta backflow into your pulmonary trunk region. Okay. Any doubts? Next, we have atrial septal defects. In this condition, there is a defect in the development of interatrial septum, which results in the communication between the right and left atrium. There is a mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, thereby giving rise to symptoms like cyanosis and breathlessness, etc. The different types of atrial septal defects are septum primum defect, septum secundum defect, and patent foramen ovale defect, premature closure of the foramen ovale, followed by cotrilocular biventricular defect. Okay, what happens here is the interatrial septum, which is dividing your right and left atrium, will not develop properly. As a result, the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood between the atrium chamber will get mixed up with each other. Okay, what do you mean by cyanosis? Cyanosis is a condition where a person's skin appears in a bluish color. Okay. This is septum primum and this is septum intermedium. You can see the communication between right and left atrium in all the three diagrams. The last diagram shows the condition called interventricular septum defect. This is the cyanosis condition. Okay. How many types of cyanosis are there? How many? Two types. What are those? Central cyanosis and peripheral cyanosis. So can you identify which one is example for central and peripheral in this figure? The upper one is for peripheral and the lower one is central. Central one is the severe one. Okay. So we have interatrial septum defect and interventricular septum defects. These are the two defects you see in the formation of septum or development of septums. Okay. The next condition is called Fallot's tetralogy. It's a combined defect. Okay. Two or more of the defects may coexist. One classically recognized condition of this type is known as Fallot's tetralogy. It consists of interventricular septal defect, aorta overriding the free upper edge of the ventricular septum, followed by pulmonary stenosis and hypertrophy of the right ventricle. What do you mean by stenosis? Shortening. And Here, the pulmonary stenosis stands for the narrowing of your pulmonary trunk, which disturbs the blood flow. Okay. And hypertrophy of the right ventricle. What do you mean by hypertrophy? Increase in the size. And anything else? Anything else for the hypertrophy? Okay. Particularly in this condition, you can see the increase of size in the right ventricle, but the inner surface area will be shrinked here. Okay. The resultant right to left shunting of blood leads to cyanosis. The Fallot tetralogy is the most commonest congenital cyanotic heart disease. These are the 4 conditions you should mention along with the diagram for your exams. What is this overriding of aorta? It's again related to your interatrial septum only. Okay. Finished? Any doubts? Any doubts? The next condition is called patent ductus arteriosis. It occurs when ductus arteriosis, a connecting channel between the left pulmonary artery and the arch of aorta, fails to close. Functionally, the closure of your ductus arteriosis occurs at the birth by the contraction of its own smooth muscles. Anatomical closure happens on the one or Okay. Anatomical closure takes place after the birth. After it will be between 1 to 3 months. Okay. So if this does not happen, if your ductus arteriosis does not close, it will lead to a condition called patent ductus arteriosis. It causes shunting of blood from aorta back into the pulmonary circulation, as I mentioned previously in your interatrial septum. All these conditions are connected with each other. Okay. Is it clear? Any doubts? No doubts?